A few months ago I recorded a video called How I Edit Your Photos, and now it's time for another episode. Make sure you follow me on Instagram because this is the place where I typically share stories about these things. Let's jump into the Lightroom and let me edit your photos now. Okay guys, we have 10 volunteers, 1 photo per each volunteer. I'm gonna start editing with this nice retro car and a cool perspective with the woods in the back. I'm gonna slightly crop it because there is too much ground. I'm gonna use my preset looking for the best one. So now looking for the best one. We have a sunrise banger and this is pretty cool. So I'm gonna use the cinematic. Not sure if you guys feel this vibe, but I really like this vibe. I'm gonna slightly decrease the exposure, increase the shadows a bit. I'm gonna lower the clarity a little bit more. 20 case is fine. Vibrance is fine. Saturation picture, we're gonna increase the yellows because it's a sunset or sunrise. Oranges a bit. Find the aqua. Okay, so this is what I have in terms of colors. I think it's pretty good. Let's play with mask. I'm gonna select the main object, which is this car, obviously. And what I want to do, I want to slightly increase the exposure just a bit, like super tiny bit. I'm gonna increase the texture so it's gonna be super sharp. Radial gradient mask, and then we're gonna invert that mask and slightly lower the exposure. So you should see that I'm bringing the object into the foreground a little bit more. It's gonna give me this a nice separation, and then I'm gonna add one more linear gradient mask from the bottom, so we're gonna give it a little bit more attention to the car. Then we're gonna add another radial gradient mask too. We're gonna and now I'm gonna increase the temperature so it's gonna give this nice sunny vibe in the back. So this is the before, this is the after, before, after. Let's jump into the next photo. Okay guys, next photo, my dream car. I love this effect, so I'm gonna try to somehow use this. Maybe we can crop this into the Instagram format. Then we're gonna check my presets, and I think the blue works here perfectly. So we're gonna work with the blue one. I'm gonna decrease the highlights now, and I'm gonna increase the red color. I'm gonna decrease the orange and yellow. We don't need greens here. Love this shot. And I'm gonna go with the linear gradient too from the bottom, and I'm gonna decrease the exposure. Select the object, which is the Mustang, and then I'm gonna slightly increase the exposure. I'm gonna slightly increase the dehaze. I'm gonna add radial gradient from the top, just in shape of the, I don't know how to call it, even like a street light. Dehaze on plus, so the effect of this line is gonna increase. We can lower the clarity here, we can lower the temperature here, give it a little bit more blues, like -10 is fine. Okay, good. One last touch, and we're gonna invert this, and I'm gonna slightly decrease the dehaze, and this is what we've got. So before, after, before, after. This is pretty good. Love this effect from the light. Love it. Okay guys, first photo, and as you can see, the first thing I noticed was snow and the red particles thanks to this light. The photo is a little bit crooked, so let me fix that. So let's find the preset I could use for this shot. The blue, again, look at this. Really strong, so probably need to fix the saturation as the first step, but the blue might work over here. Blue should be fine. So the saturation bar, and we're gonna decrease that. Then we're gonna decrease the shadows. Okay, some other things like highlights, we can go all the way down. Okay, we're gonna play with those curves just a little bit because I know they can be better. Yep. Okay, colors, red, we're gonna give it a little bit more red because I love these particles flying around. And the blues, yeah, just a tiny bit, -25 is fine. Okay, cool. No need for masking because we have some dark places in the back, elements in the bottom, we have some dark sky in the top part of the photo. So I think we're gonna keep this photo as it is. You don't always have to use masks. So this is the before, this is the after. Moody style, a little bit like dark vibes here, but before, after, before, after. Next photo is this fellow. Okay, that's a cool shot. We don't need this ground at the bottom. I'm gonna make this ready for Instagram. I just want to use the black and gold because I love the light in the back and the tones in the foreground. I'm gonna decrease the highlights, play with the exposure a little bit more so we can recover those highlights in the back. Okay, I'm gonna decrease the whites. You're gonna see more elements in the back, so that's cool. We're gonna slightly increase the texture, decrease the clarity. We don't need those details in the back, and we're gonna slightly increase the dehaze. Okay, that's cool. Let me just play with the vibrance a bit. So we're gonna pop up the colors a bit more. We are losing the details in the sky, but I guess it was burned, so I'm not gonna fix that in this case, I guess. All things fine. Let's play with masks. So I'm gonna select my object, and in this case I just want the guy. Right now increase the exposure a bit, increase the clarity minimum, give it a little bit more temperature so there are some sun rays on it. So we're gonna add a radial gradient mask into the classic center point, like here. We're gonna position it like this. We're gonna invert it classically again. I'm gonna lower the exposure. Let's make it wider. Not wider, but let's make it narrower. Decreasing the exposure, increasing the dehaze. I think I'm gonna slightly increase the shadow on our guy. Yeah, this one is pretty cool. Yeah, I think we have it. This is the before, after. I would say pretty cool. Let's move on with the next one. And here we have a classic back shot, as you can see. A little bit crooked, so I'm gonna straighten it up and crop it a little bit, Instagram format in this case. I think the snow preset's gonna fit here, although I'm gonna decrease the temperature a bit, so we're gonna unreveal those reds in the back. I'm gonna add some texture, so we're gonna have the snowdrops visible a bit more. Increase the haze and then slightly decrease the shadows. Okay, decreasing the saturation into the blue primary calibration. This is gonna give us this like a super cool cold freezing vibe. And now it's time for masking. So in this case I think I can just play the subject. It's gonna, yeah, exactly, this is my main focus point. So I'm gonna slightly increase the exposure. You don't want to mess it around, so just, you know, move those sliders slightly. Let's add one more mask, and that's gonna be radial gradient classic center point, something like this. Still inverting this and decreasing the exposure a bit and increasing the dehaze, so it's gonna give me those darker areas a little bit more darker without increasing the highlights, obviously, right? And last mask here, it's gonna be the radial mask again, but this time a little bit different shape. Make it longer over here, make it longer behind the back. What I wanna do, I wanna increase the highlights from the street lights, so I'm gonna increase the dehaze. Decrease the dehaze like this. Subtract our main object, because we don't want the street lights to hit and highlight the back of our object, because there is no street light in the back, at least in this photo. So yeah, this is what we have. So before, after. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, I really like the messiness of this photo, especially the top part. Maybe I'm gonna crop this a little bit because I don't like this. Pretty good. Let's see the presets, black and gold, blue. I think the blue is fine. When I was going through the preset, I noticed this guy coming out from the tram, which is absolutely insane. That's a great shot, great catch. You can see it now. Amazing. So I think let's go with the blue, but this time I'm gonna slightly increase the highlights, increase the exposure just a bit, because we're gonna play with this tram and the perspective. Yeah, this is the guy I was talking about. This is amazing. I'm gonna select object, which is the main tram. I'm gonna increase the exposure of this tram, and I'm gonna increase the clarity just a bit, adding another radial mask over here with a shape like this, inverting this and making the exposure goes down like -55, and then we're gonna go with a linear gradient. One last thing, we got those lights over here pointing to somehow into the like tram direction, so I'm gonna do the same experiment I did with the previous photo, the snowy ones. So I'm gonna add like a big bubble in the middle of the photo, like coming from the top. Maybe something like this. Actually, I'm gonna increase the dehaze, and I think we have it. This is it. This is the before. This is the before. This is the after. Before, after. So I've picked this one because I like how unusual it is, because we have some silhouettes in the back. We have some neons. We have some lights in the restaurant or whatever the place is. So yeah, let's find a preset we want to go with. And I think this time we're gonna go with the city lights or the Holy F banger, or yeah, there are a lot of cool presets coming nicely together, and I think the night red banger is pretty cool. So we can fix the lights by changing the highlights. We're gonna reveal the silhouettes with shadows. And to be honest, one last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna increase the temperature and I'm gonna crop it. Okay, one more thing we're gonna add is the radial gradient mask tool, and we're gonna mask the lights over here. We're gonna increase the dehaze, and one last mask we're gonna add to the top. We're gonna do this, we're gonna give it like a swooshy accent. I'm gonna keep it like this, and this is the before, this is the after, this is the before after. So basically preset some sliders and one mask, and that's it. Let's move on to the next one. We've got this beautiful wide shot. Normally I would like to play with the perspective, but here we know it's 18mm Samyang, so that would be hard. We're gonna lose some part of the photo. I'm gonna definitely use the Instagram format here. We have a little bit too much sky over here, so I'm gonna do something like this. The blue preset is gonna work here, but let me go through different presets really quickly, unless I have a faded version like the dark cold, the blue dark, basically the blue with the change temperature and less blue, the blue with the less blue. Yeah, so maybe this one. Yeah, let's go with this one. Increasing the temperature, nope, we wanna keep it dark. And increasing the highlights just a bit, -20 is fine. 100% of half of shadows. Whites, we're gonna drop the whites, but we're gonna increase the exposure. We're gonna definitely increase the exposure so we can unreveal some details on the ground here. We're gonna increase the vibrance to +15, so we're gonna give it a little bit more punch to the reds and oranges on the bus in the back, so that's gonna be cool. I'm gonna increase this red color a bit more. Pretty cool when it comes to colors. I really like how it came out. I'm not gonna be masking like everything's perfect here, so I'm gonna just go with the classic linear from the bottom, decreasing the dehaze and decreasing the exposure just a bit. Nothing too serious. This is it. I think this is it. Before, after, kind of like a Gotham City. Okay, moving to the next one. We have last two photos. We have a bus with a really cool accent of the light from the bottom, coming from the bottom, so, and lights inside the bus. So this is pretty, and the number is 69, which you all know what's going on here. Instagram format again. Let's really quickly, and let's fix the horizon. The blue one, yes, the blue one is good here as well. The snow is good here as well. Not sure what to choose. Let's go with the blue. I'm gonna slightly increase the temperature because we want to unreveal those lights on the ground, increasing the shadows and increasing the exposure a bit more. Whoa, the vibe, Jesus, this is pretty cool. Pretty cool. In case of reds, I'm gonna increase them. The one thing you might want to do is select an object. I'm gonna increase the exposure just a bit. So right now we want to add a radial mask behind the bus because there is some lighting festival going on. So I'm gonna subtract the object, and then it gives me this nice light in the back. This is the before, this is the after, this is the before, this is the after. So we basically changed the aqua-ish color to the blue-ish color, and this is really good. Okay guys, one last photo to keep it short. Really dig this perspective. It's unusual one. Let's see if we have something special for this occasion. The city light is pretty cool. I have something good for this in my backpack. I am gonna go with the, look at this, cinematic, kind of retro, maybe too. I'm gonna decrease the grain because I was playing with the grain lately, so let's make it 35. It's a great perspective, right? It's really nice vibe over here, but let's keep it horizontal, let's keep it landscape, let's keep it like this. We want to give it a little bit more attention. This woman over here, not sure if it's, yeah, it works. So I'm gonna increase the exposure, I'm gonna decrease the dehaze, I'm gonna increase the texture. Now we need two linear masks over here, one from the left, coming from the left, still subtracting our object. Then we have another linear mask coming from this side. Building is shorter, the right side is shorter and still pretty much the same, decreasing the dehaze, maybe even this. I would maybe slightly, just maybe make it center like this, because we have too much things going on the left side. Right now it's pretty cool. Radiant gradient, inverting and making the exposure goes down as well as the dehaze. This is the before, this is the after, this is the before, this is the after. Okay guys, these were the 10 photos. I wanted to show you guys how I edit them, and hopefully you got some cool vibes from this editing session. The next one is coming soon. I hopefully gonna have some time to do that again. And yeah, just follow me on Instagram, you will see all the details if there is another session coming. And yeah, this is it. Thanks guys for watching, and see you in the next one.